Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Your video is about to start. I wanted to remind you of our newer Wednesday, 1 p.m. live stream Q&A on all things Social Security. Visitors are welcome to post a question in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer it. It's on a first come, first serve basis, so please get there on time. Otherwise, if you care to be a member and get some different kinds of perks, feel free to click the join button below or just click it to learn about them. Anyway, I hope to see you Wednesday. If not, enjoy the video. Bye now. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It is, what is the date today? The 9th of February. Okay, so this is just a quick Social Security roundup for the week of February 3rd to February 8th. So here we go. In case you missed. Okay, so the third Monday, we talked about this was in particular for people who have worked and paid into the Social Security system, working in the United States or outside of the United States, but paying in to the United States system or something that's the equivalent, and later on retire or become disabled and move out of the United States. So they're not a US citizen and they are not a resident. So they're not like a permanent resident or on a visa. They're not here. Nothing wrong with that. Um, there is a overarching rule about having to return every 6 months for 1 month if you want to collect those benefits out of the country, living elsewhere. However, there are some massive exceptions that apply to so many people based on what their citizenship is elsewhere and agreements and all. So we go into that a little bit so that if you are erroneously told, like someone that I just consulted for, who was having his benefits withheld unless he returned to the United States for 30 days, kind of an inconvenient thing, costs a lot of money, right? Um, and I think the field office just aired. So I did a consulting thing with him, got him some of the information I think will help him prove it to them. And I would just add that in that we had discussed that sometimes when you're appealing something that they found at the lower level like that, they just kind of rubber stamp their initial mistake, boom, boom, and it keeps coming back at you, and it's very frustrating. I would urge that when it's something like that that you know is technically wrong, don't just roll over. Take it all the way to an ALJ because they're the ones that really use discretion and insight and listen to you versus, some paper pusher, no offense, that just can easily go, let's just repeat the thing and move it on. They can always appeal. That's sometimes what I think the attitude might be. Okay, so Tuesday, February 4th, this was about, this was for disabled young people who are later going to be potentially eligible for DAC because they were disabled before the age of 22. It could have been from birth or childhood or what have you, but before the age of 22. And when work attempts can hurt them and kind of how to prevent that without having to prevent work attempts. Because, once you screw up DAC, even if you're not collecting it now, but you want to collect it in 10 years from now when the parent finally collects, you could have screwed it up without even knowing it based on those work attempts if you don't handle the work attempts appropriately. So we go into that a little bit. February 5th. Oh, February 5th was our, what seems to be now a weekly live stream. I think we went about 2 hours and 45 minutes. It was long, but I will admit that time does fly. It goes really fast. So we went through a ton of questions. On that day. So just a reminder then that Wednesdays, I might just not be doing any of these little daily shares. It kind of depends, but I don't want to get too busy with it, given all the other stuff going on. So um, Wednesday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to join, I welcome you. Try to be there on time because the questions get answered first in, first out. And while I have been kind of extending the time to get through all the answers, that's why I've been going almost 3 hours. I'm not going to do that forever. It just would be unwise of me. So it will be where, at 2 o'clock, if your question isn't answered, it would only be because you came late anyway. So maybe that'll encourage people to get there on time. Okay. All righty. February 6th. So that would be Thursday. This is about CDRs. And this question I think was based on somebody asking about it. So that's why I shared it. A CDR and the difficulties when you have continued your benefits pending a CDR that denied you and you're appealing it, and you use that 10-day availability of asking that they keep your benefits going pending your appeal so you can survive and pay your bills. Completely understandable. It can put a little bar between you and being able to retain an attorney or a non-attorney rep to handle the CDR um, on your appeal, because there would be no, when they put in the effort and the hours and the trial hearing, blah, 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 and all the documents gathering and the briefs and all that, um, there'll be nothing from which they can get paid because obviously you don't have it. You've been getting your benefits. There will be no back benefits, and you probably don't have a lot of savings because your benefits are used for your upkeep, right? Your basic survival. So there is some things that can be done. Um, they're not always the easiest, but sometimes you can kind of make a different kind of arrangement to get the attorney on board so that both of you are assured that there is money when the time comes for him to be paid, when he or she does the stellar job and gets your CDR denial overturned for you. I think there was somebody who said, why should, I'm not even going to go into it, but it's in one of the comments about why should the CDR attorney or non-attorney rep get a so-and-so retainer if they're only doing how long does it take to throw in a couple pieces of paper? It was so funny. I'm like, are you kidding? I think CDRs are probably more onerous than taking a case from beginning to end, because the attorney that's usually doing the CDR, for those few that are still willing to do them, and I'm not even sure I am anymore because the difficulty that SSA rules make it. Not really the SSA's fault. It's like gravity. It's the practical effect. But for those that are, if this fellow seemed to think that they just throw in a couple pieces of paper, a couple forms, it's probably why, maybe that's why, maybe he's still fighting a claim because that's all maybe he does for himself on his case. But anyway, CDRs and how to get an attorney rep if you need one, which by and large, I would say you don't really use when you need get CDR. You might want to hire someone to look at, do the documents, like if they're asking for a function report or this or that, or a 455, 454, you might want to secure a flat fee and have someone do that with you for a few hours. But I wouldn't necessarily retain one unless you don't prevail on your CDR and initial and it gets, denied. And then you have to appeal and there's a problem. That's probably what I would say. Like, you don't necessarily have to get one for the CDR. Just, follow the directions. If you've been doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is treat, 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 to some degree after you've prevailed in your case, maybe not to the same vigor as when you were fighting your case. I think it's okay. Okay, moving on. I digress. Friday was Friday's fraud law review, and this concerned a New York senior um, who was doing some bad stuff, stealing Social Security numbers and taking out loans in the names of people like us, and then not paying them, and then we get bad credit. It's identity theft of sorts as well as fraud. I don't know if you guys have ever had an ID theft or someone took a loan out under your name and information. I did. It was a really long time ago. I was like, I want to say I was like 8 months pregnant with my son, who's now 16. And so I guess it's 16 and a half years ago. Oops. Excuse me. It was bad. It took like almost a year to clear up, maybe 8 months. All right. I didn't only find out because my credit tanked. All right. So oh yeah, Saturday. Um, yeah, my voice is going. Only because I just swallowed, I think, a piece of something. Um, This was sharing with you the results of a congressional inquiry, at least one step in the results, with a congressperson who's doing the perfect thing of being very responsive and putting in the inquiry and all that business. And we go over again when you should and shouldn't use a congressional inquiry. It's not to be abused, in my opinion. But I shared that with you. I even read the letter, I think, redacted, of course. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a fabulous week. We're having a cold one up here. I hear we are looking at tons of snow after snow after snow. So it'll be interesting. I've got my shovels ready. I'm just got to make sure I have enough salt. But I have kind of a steep driveway. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Stay safe, everybody, and I will see you next week. Bye. It's still Sunday. Did you miss last week's Social Security roundup? Not this week that you just heard, but the one prior to that, and want to catch up? I'm attaching it now. Have a great day. Bye. Happy Sunday. Okay, this is the Social Security roundup for the week of January 27th through February 1st. Unreal. Unreal. Can you believe we're through the first month of 2025? Wow. Okay, so let's get to it. January 27th, we went over, um, it was when claimants sometimes, you may have felt this way at some point, they're embarrassed about some of the contents of what they think the contents of their medical records. Maybe it's a particular impairment or a treatment. They may not even think it's relevant to their disability, so they don't want to include it because they're embarrassed about it and they want it to be not going anywhere other than the medical provider. And I just kind of caution against that. It's very, very confidential when it goes to the SSA. I mean, it's like Fort Knox. And the only people that see it there are the people reviewing them to determine if you're disabled. And you might be surprised at how something that you don't think is relevant to disability really is. It might be one of those little crumbs that get you from 98% to the finish line, the other 2% to the finish line. So I don't think you should ever worry about not sharing all of your providers or trying to get any provider to carve out some of their records and not provide them. I think that can be a big mistake. Not to mention, we're somewhat obligated to send all of our, somewhat, we are obligated to send our disability related medical um, providers, good, better, ugly, to the SSA. So aside from that it's wholly confidential and you should not worry about it. Your neighbor's not gonna get their hands on it, at least not via the SSA. It may be some other avenue at your house, but not through this. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think it's really important that you make your case as strong as it can be. Okay, so for Tuesday, January 28th, we were diving into the grids again, and this was going to town specifically. I think I even showed the grids in this one for the 50 to 54-year-olds and where the path to disabled can be found in the chart, and the 55 and above claimants. So take a look, see if you are 50 and above or soon to be. On the, looks like the 28th. Yeah, the 28th, we had our live stream. That must be Wednesday. Okay, yeah, that was the live stream. So in case you missed it, it is up there, having been published now by YouTube as a replay. It's about 2 hours. It's all questions and answers. So take a look, see if you're interested in that. Then on the 29th, no, the 28th was, 27th was Monday. 28th was Tuesday. Okay. 29th, we had, sorry about that, Wednesday, the live stream. The 30th, this was about some really, really unethical fake news scammers out there. And they are on social media, and I've even heard it out of some politicians' mouths. Concerns that Social Security, SSI, food stamps, SNAP, Medicaid, Medicare. Oh my God, by pausing the spending in financial aid under certain programs means those are going to be part of those programs. Not so. It's completely other spendings that are being paused to take a look to see if any of it is going out inappropriately. Um, we know now that there were many, many inappropriate spendings going on, one of which was about to take place. I think they were able to halt it because of this. 50 million to Gaza for condoms. Yep. And which is a real pip considering what Gaza did with condoms back in 2021 that killed a lot of people. So I'm not sure if that was like a cruel joke on Americans or not. But anyway, that is one of the several that were halted. And it also happened to be halting um, sending money to other countries. Um, while they're determining whether that's something we should be spending or should we be spending it on our own people and shoring up our own programs, such as SSI, Social Security, Medicare, and whatnot. So I take it as a good thing, but some people, fraudsters in particular, clickbaiters, are seeking to make people afraid by giving out false information, um, which can only hurt you. Okay, Friday was fraud law review. This was West Virginia fellow, not so good fellow. He stole his disabled father's VA benefits as well as his Social Security retirement benefits to the tune of over $250,000, and he was busted. And I think that one someone responded because I often ask in these things, so do you think the punishment was good enough or what? And I appreciated the person who gave an opinion about, yeah, it probably was good enough under the circumstances because XYZ. So that was kind of fun. I think I saw that today or yesterday. Um, February 1st. Yeah. Okay. So yesterday, this was, I see this a lot. Chiropractic care. Some people, that's all they got when it comes to their muscular skeletal issues and why there can be a problem if you are relying on your chiropractor and those records to win your Social Security disability or SSI claim. It's filled with problems. So we go over that so that you can know and you can make better choices. Doesn't necessarily mean getting rid of your chiropractor by any means, but there's some additional things you're going to have to do. All right, I think that's it. Yahoo. All right, so I hope you all had a great week. Mine was okay. I'm feeling better today than I did yesterday and the day before. So I will be around this week. We have our live stream Wednesday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Would love it if you joined. And if you want to get your question in there, try to come as early as possible. It's a first in, first out question and answer. And in all honesty, I have been taking them till the end and I have stayed over time, but there will come a time when I won't do that. So um, you just might want to come on time. All right. All right. I think that's it. I hope you all have a great week. I hope you have a safe week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.